let me bring Ira in here. Now, the Japanese Nuclear Safety Agency rated the damage at the nuclear power plant in Fukushima at a 4 on a scale of 1 to 7, each number being 10 times worse than the prior one. For example, Three Mile Island was a 5, and Chernobyl rated as a 7. Do you agree with the assessment of Jay Lair?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, it was rated as a 4 2 days ago, and a lot of very bad things have happened since then. We don't know what's going to happen. There may not be a significant breach of containment at any of these 3 reactors, but there may be, and that's the point. For the last 3 days, the people who operate this plant have not known what's been going on. They have been doing a spectacular job, but they've been working in the dark. They've been using techniques which are not in any of the playbooks, using fire trucks to pump seawater into a reactor, which you know is going to destroy the reactor, is something that has never been done before and has never been contemplated before. And it's not working really well either, which is why we keep having these periodic increases in the amount of fuel that's melting down.
But Margaret, let me bring you in here. By all accounts, they even built this facility, which was built a number of decades ago, to withstand an 8.2 magnitude earthquake. There is, as I understand it, what they're saying is a ton of redundancy and protections that they put in place here, even envisioning a worst-case scenario. Your thoughts on where we are right now and what we can expect?
Well, that's correct. First, I'd like to say that on behalf of the American Nuclear Society, that our hearts go out to what's happening in Japan and the earthquake and the tsunami and the devastation. I especially want to congratulate and honor the workers at the plants whose families and homes have been lost, and yet they've stayed on the job. That said, you're absolutely right. There's huge defense in depth on these plants. They were designed to operate through an earthquake, an 8.2. They survived this earthquake. The tsunami was what took out some of the backup systems, but the ultimate backup has always been the reactor vessel and the containment, which are working. In addition, remember that the seawater option was built into the plant. This is not something that was not anticipated. It is, of course, something you don't want to do. You don't want to put seawater into the facility, but it was planned as an ultimate backup if you needed it, and it's working.
All right, Jay, we keep hearing meltdown, and I know when we talk about nuclear anything, that I assume that people's minds go towards a nuclear explosion of some kind.
There's no question about that, Sean. A meltdown is basically a nuclear engineering term, which simply means that the heat from the radioactive decay is greater than we want it to be in order to operate.
But the fear is the release of radiation, is it not?
It is, but we have a containment structure that is not likely to release the radiation, and if it did release the radiation, most of the radioactive particles have a very short half-life. Chernobyl was a number 7, as you said. It had no containment building. It totally exploded. There was a cloud of radiation that they said was going to kill tens of thousands of people and deform children. 10 years after the accident, the UN produced a 1,200-page report pointing out that there was no long-term impact on health from anybody away from the plant due to the radiation cloud. There were 1,000 cases of leukemia in the village right surrounding Chernobyl, and 998 of them were cured. So this idea of this radioactive cloud like a nuclear bomb is totally false and puts stress on a population, both our country and their country, that's totally unwarranted.
All right.